Hey, everybody. Looks like I'm live. And I am Rick Jors, for those of you that do not know. And Smoking Divine One. I smoke organic tobacco for the most part, and it is beneficial, as many of you may know, with the spiritual journey. So we keep the things as clean as we can in our temples. Keep your temples very clean, meaning do not put chemicals in them and chlorinated water and what have you. So this is a divine update of what's occurring with the planet as a whole. And of course, I will take some questions later on. But for any of you watching live now, just keep your questions for a little later on after I speak a little bit. Then we can take some questions. Thank you for your cooperation. So worldwide, what we see is a huge amount of tension, and you see it escalating, and it is for a divine reason. So when you take all of the tension all around the planet, where people have been forced to stand up like no other time, if you will, in history, it is very important and divinely significant. So what you're seeing now is the tension building. However, as always in any great times of change, it takes a tension to change things, and this is what you are witnessing now. So while it may look like it's very destructive what's occurring, and while it may look like there is no direction really in sight, and no organized direction, that is merely a nearsighted conception of what is occurring, meaning that everything that is occurring for a divine reason, for the planet is changing this time entirely out of the old savage, inhumane ways, transitioning into, if you will, the heaven on earth scenario. However, to do that, it takes the majority of the population to want that. And through the protesting peoples standing up and saying, no, enough is enough, as these numbers grow, this is also the support that creates the new reality. So at this time, if you're to perhaps do a mental evaluation right around the planet, when you are in receipt of all the real truth and real facts of the numbers of people protesting, then you can see it's actually in the billions. So also important to say that where you see perhaps a few million in the streets, that is only the tip of the iceberg of how many are really awake, how many are aware at least that something is wrong, and I count those into the awakened group, because when they have become aware that something is wrong, they have begun the awakening journey. So it's only the tip of the iceberg, what you are seeing in videos and what you are visually seeing in the protests. The ones that are at their homes and sitting and watching things is much greater. That number is much greater. So having said this, the old paradigm with, let's say, around 200,000 individuals ruling the planet and dictating how society should be, quickly, when you look at the numbers of perhaps close to 2 billion right today in the streets all around the planet, when you add them all together over a length of time so that you get everyone that is protesting, demonstrating at once, simple math will tell you that 200,000 old rulers are no match to billions of people. And again, the billions of people are growing. And what occurs with this, where these old 200,000, they have lost all control. Sure, they have, what they had was their enforcement units to protect them, but what's occurring within their enforcement units is that their enforcement units are breaking down. Let's say with police, many police are beginning to leave, as well as military. So you are witnessing the great destruction of the old paradigm and the old rule. And this is all divinely oriented, and it's divinely orchestrated what is occurring to liberate humanity and to advance humanity into, let's say, civility, meaning out of the savagery and the ridiculous things that many were incurring upon the planet due to the control of money and to the suppression of one's inalienable God-given rights. So what's occurring is that all of the people's prayers and what they always felt upon the planet is actually being answered. However, it's going through this transitional period for the people to make the choice to support the new reality. So in the past, people had become complacent and to the old rule, and they had become dependent upon the old governance and the old rule. And that dependence and codependency of the people allowing a few to print money and control society, it had to be broken. So divinely, all of the events that are occurring now are divinely orchestrated to break that old control. And, to say to humanity, enough of that misery is enough. You have advanced enough now consciously that you do no longer need to accept such a savage, inhumane environment. You have the full ability, the full capacity to create the beautiful world. And the beautiful world is absent of wars, misery, sickness, lack. The new world is absent of disharmony and all of these stringent conditions and restrictions. So it doesn't exist in the new world where we are creating and what is divinely being created for those that are going into the new world. So to assure that everyone goes into this new heaven on earth scenario, the old is being destructed, it's being compressed. So with this, there are many, yes, I'll say many creational attributes that are part of the dynamics of making this happen. And of course, we are dealing with linear time with this, where you have the cause and effect of creation. So where many of you upon the planet, like I, are creators of this reality, once we put creation in motion, there are times that we need to wait until we put another intent of creation out there in motion. So we are doing this constantly, and yes, all of you, including I and Femke, are totally busy with assuring this overall planetary ascension up into the harmony. But the thing is, it is occurring. And having said this, any fear propagandists in narratives that for you that are awake and know what I'm saying, but also for ones that may be watching this that's just awakening, it's important that any fear narratives that you see out there, to not get caught up in the drama of it, and do not consciously energize it. And it's very important for, as a co-creator, if all of you, like in the past, were to energize war by having fear, then war occurred. It happened because you are co-creators. So in this most glorious time, you have the choice now to say, no, you don't want any war, you don't want any fear. Shift your focus onto what you want, and you will find that you will become aligned and begin to create the most harmonious reality ever known to humankind very quickly. You will see the confirmations, and you will see the signs that this is so. So do not get caught up in generating fear into your reality. For you as a human soul, you affect and influence your reality from what's within you. It is projected outward and it affects your reality. For if you have great fear within, then you are going to create a fear environment outside of you. Now the opposite of that is true, and the opposite of this is your choice. If you have harmony, love, and peace within you, then you generate that out in your reality. And when you have a huge number doing the same thing, it creates that reality. And let's say war, famine, disease, all of that then must fall to the wayside. It is no longer energetically supported. It is no longer energetically created in your reality. So this is the choice that you have now. And this is an unprecedented choice. It's unprecedented, for never before in history as a human did you contain so much power and ability to control your reality. And one of the reasons why is because we are amidst the Ascension, which is unprecedented, and it is your deliverance to the new reality. However, each one of you has a certain degree of responsibility and discipline to making the new reality so. It's what you came here for. Each and every one of you that is watching this, you play an important part in the new reality. However, of course, you must be aligned with the new reality and make the choice of what you wish to have in your reality, and that creates part of your alignment to experience it. So, graciously and most beautifully, all around the world, even though you're seeing tension and chaos, destruction is necessary to construct the new. For the tearing down of what no longer serves humanity has to be, it's part of the process. It has to go, and that's divinely assured it is. Now, having said this, upon the planet, not every humanoid construct has a human soul, and you're beginning to see this within some enforcement agencies, where you see the brutality and the fear. I need to say that not all of those are human. If they were, they would not be beating and expressing savagery, brutality, and what have you upon another human being. So it very quickly identifies them for what they are. However, it had to be said, reiterated once again, to let you know to stand in your power and to not be ruled by something that does not even have human compassion. They are absent of it. And they are what you would call just a numb, ill intent, carrier of some sort of a nefarious script. So I don't really need to go further into that. However, it's more important, again, to focus on the unity and keep connected with the ones that are that you know are of the light, that are human souls, because these are the ones that are creating the new reality. So you do not need to be part of the drama so much. So there needs to be an opposition. These are the old couple 100,000 old rulers. There needs to be just that opposition as a block. But it does not need to be any violence, and there should not be. But just a block, an opposition block against the remnants of the old power structures, while everyone that is putting up the block and everyone behind them are all uniting up here to create the new reality. The common sense tells anyone that there is the great strength in numbers, that the majority dictates and rules the reality of what it will be. So common sense only tells you that anyone opposing and fighting against a regime that has no intent of doing the humane things is you're wasting your time. But you're not wasting your time. You are very wise when you just put up that opposition to prevent them from going any further, but you unite. And it's your unity that creates them out of the picture. You don't need to fight them. You just merely need to unite. Your numbers are beyond what they are. And what they are is the remnants of the darkness. They are minions, they are soulless dark ones that only can reside in the fourth density. All of you are multi-dimensional, meaning you have the full capacity and ability right at this very time to reside in a 5D, a fifth dimensional state of being and existence, and also in that dimension and beyond. The darkness cannot go there. For to reach a fifth dimensional state, there has to be the purity within your heart. The good intent, the morals, and the ethics is what gets you there. So generally and essentially, being a good human being in the least is what gets you up there. And you must stand in your power, because part of this is to have the full trust and the full divine courage of being who and what you are. If you continue to let someone twist your arm into something that goes against morality and ethics and truth, then you are going to become a victim of them. So it makes most absolute sense, again, to trust and to stand as you're doing. God is very real. Many of you know that. Many more think that. And it is real. God is real, Creator. And again, everything is happening because of a divine reason upon the planet. And all of this has been written to some degree in every prophecy, every religion around the world. And it was written there for a reason, and it's absolutely correct. Although a lot of it was manipulated and disoriented intentionally, however, the fundamental truths are still there. The essential truths are still written within each religion, each prophecy, each scripture. However, it depends upon the conscious perspective of seeing that. But they are there. All of the keys, all of the tools have been planted in these writings, in these teachings, but also within you, that would be unlocked incrementally, marginally, as you kept going forward. So it's all there, it's all ordained, it is all absolute, it is definite, meaning that humanity does not fall victim to an apocalypse or collapse. It's actually the opposite. This is the upliftment, the rapture into the new reality. You can pin whatever label that you wish on it. I use the term rapture sometimes, for that's what it is. It is the upliftment. But it's the upliftment in consciousness and power through the purity, through your divine power, is what uplifts you, is what creates the rapture, if you will. And we are currently in the middle of that beautiful rapture. So we are well on our way. So again, it takes the divine virtue of patience as we watch things unfold. There is what you call the flow, then the ebb, then the flow, and the ebb. But it still keeps going forward, and with every rise, crest of the wave, each one keeps getting higher, if you will, on a scale. So we keep going forward with each higher wave. We keep getting closer to the harmony and the distinct, most harmonious reality that everyone wishes. So with that, there is no failure by any upon the planet. And I have said before, like many, the battle, the spiritual battle, the war in this dimension, it has been won. It has been won in linear years, years ago, and we are just playing out the roles to take it to fruition. But it's already won again. And, you know, one of the most substantial factors that indicates that is that you would not see all of the darkness revealed, all of the evidence, all of the documentation of evidence. You would not see it all revealed, identities of the darkness exposed, if this was not so. If the darkness still had power, you would not be at this point you're at today. You would not know the truth that you know. So this shows you they have no power. They could not keep it concealed anymore. So it has brought you to this point, but there is no going back. The old way is not normal. The old way was savage. So you are going forward into the great unknown, but it is the most beautiful, harmonious unknown that you ever could imagine. So keep your faith, retain your trust, and retain your knowing that it is so, and that you are amidst of just a process with it. And, of course, assist all of your divine comrades that are open to it, to the souls that are open to the truth. But don't waste time on a soul that is rejecting the truth, for they cannot see yet. And if you are to try to force information upon one and they reject it, that is your instant sign that they are not ready. Their soul is not ready for it. But it doesn't mean that overnight then they may be ready. But just don't exert your energy or your focus upon trying to wake family members or others if they're not awake, but be the peer that you are. Keep empowering yourself. Keep in the truth. And keep saying the truth when you are asked it. This assists a lot better instead of you getting hauled down into the drama in your family in the lower density where they cannot see. Then you become entangled in that, and it keeps you underwater and keeps you in a state of disharmony. So know who and what you are, what's going on. Preach, speak your truth, and stay high in what you are. So that was just like a general overview. I'll see if there's any questions here. I see we have some from Croatia and Poland. Hello, everyone. Yeah, do we have any questions coming up? Hi, Allison. Yes, in Canada, the awakening is indeed happening very rapidly, and I'd love to say exponentially. Yeah, so the governments have lost, all power. One of the biggest things they are doing now, which is going against what they're supposed to be, is the discrimination. And so that is a huge violation of human rights. And there is no deliverance for them from the crimes, if you will, that they have committed thus far. And so no deliverance, no redemption. And this is a great point as well. So with that, because there are too many that are awakened now and more are awakening, any of the governments, the old rulers, they have no power whatsoever and no credibility going into the future. So all of that has been lost. So where they no longer have any credibility, what you have among the awakening ones, as you know, are divine. You have the higher consciousness, the most competent ones that can harmoniously run everything for the planet, for all of the human interests, and with a consensus worldwide just to administrate everything for humanity is so simple. So the credibility and incompetency and also nefarious intent, it is so blatant now with the governments that it's all tumbling very quickly. How's it been? Can I get an update on the feed? Here, some said it was not rate great. How's it doing now? Please. Thank you. Just give me a moment. I'm looking at a couple questions and comments. Yeah, excellent, Greg, brother. again, where just one enlightened being can counteract, the dense actions of hundreds of thousands, and that is so. You're such an energetic conduit and creator of reality that by being in the full higher positive and divine state while you're upon the planet, you change the reality. You generate an energy that affects all within your close reality, but also it emanates outwards. And yeah, we do not need all awake and in their divine power. Right at this most glorious time, we have superseded, we have surpassed the amount of divine empowered ones upon the planet that we require to change reality quickly. So we are actually in a very important point in this ascension. So just by letting every divine one know, making them available to the awareness that they are powerful enough now, this takes everything very rapidly forward to the higher levels. So, great. Okay, I saw a couple questions up here. Destry strokes, when will they stop giving vaccines? I believe in many places it has already stopped, and it will continue to stop, Destry. And again, their ability to force it on others is waning very rapidly. So it is stopping in many countries, and many mandates and restrictions are dropping rapidly, for they are in many countries, many areas, they're seeing it cannot be enforced. And also where with their laws and their legal systems, it is contradicting them. So it has made their legal systems and their lawful statutes null and void as well, and they're unable to take it any further forward, especially where the growing numbers are no longer supporting it. It cannot exist as well. So it's ending very rapidly everywhere. Having said that, behind the scenes, I believe all testing requirements for airports and flights in a few weeks will all be lifted as well, with the free travel, and also the border regulations and things will also be lifting very quickly, for they cannot impose any of these individual sanctions on rights, as you will. There's just too many now that are informed and well within the system's laws, but also well within the divine absolute laws, which is superior to any legal system of any country upon the planet. And the more have become aware of this over the last 2 years, and of course the individual sovereignty procedures, the rate of that has increased as well. But it's not so much about becoming sovereign with the paperwork to prove it against an establishment that doesn't recognize it, but it's the point of one's knowing that there is this higher divine law which supports the sovereignty. And what it does, it enacts the higher divine law of the people. Again, when, as I mentioned earlier, where you have 6 or 8 billion people worldwide that are practicing and recognize their unalienable rights. That is the law. No couple 100,000 in governments worldwide can go against that absolute law. So there is no contest with it again. So the couple 100,000 in governments have lost it all, and you're just now going through the process of watching the endings of it occur. At this time, I feel we are so very close to the new beginning. So the ending of the old, because of the accelerated destruction, the new beginning has to be pro-rational to the destructive rate. And with this, at this point, many of you that know what we're doing with the GPMS, and perhaps some that do not know of GPMS.world yet, it is the new reality. It is the new simple divine law and free monetary system that takes every human out of any financial stress forever and ever. So it eliminates it, and it very quickly, instantly, once it's supported by enough, it is the full law, and it is the full new monetary system that wipes out poverty and disharmony, stress, almost all disease instantly. It eradicates once they become aware of it, and we get close. The closer we get to inception of it, the more disease that is also lifted. For let's say disease and sickness is caused by stress, but when you take this one planetary thing with the control, the old control of money, the stress that it created on everyone, when you take that blanket off, they rise, they are free. And also it has a direct, immediate effect on their health, for you just eliminated a stress factor that made most of them sick in the beginning. So then they very miraculously and quickly heal too. So there is the great beauty in this GPMS, and any of you not familiar with it, it's very important to look at it, join your voice, register your voice, and also any that are also part of it. It's important to keep sharing it to the ones that are open to look at the choice that they have, the GPMS. So the more we get it out there, the quicker we collect the voice, the quicker this new reality gets created, because it depends upon the support of the ones upon the planet, and this is how it gets created. So you can just look at it as a worldwide vote. But when you go on GPMS website, one of the simplest, quickest things to do is to look at the comparison of the old versus the new, and the new is the GPMS, and you can see that everyone would want to make this choice. So then we just got to add everyone's voice together to create the numbers to show the rest of humanity that no, you know, we have these few billions supporting it, and it's a definite thing. It's not an illusion, it's not a delusion, it's not a false promise, it is the absolute actual thing. So you just need to create the voice, and this is done that delivers humanity to liberates humanity and places them in full abundance and out of the savage world that we all were currently in. So we're in this beautiful transitional phase to the new reality. But again, it's up to every individual to get your voice on there, registered on GPMS, added to the overall count of all the other voices, and get the information out to as many that are open to it, to show them they have this choice, and immediately tell them to get registered. For the quicker we get the voice created, the quicker this new reality comes to fruition, and all of the madness that you're seeing out there is over, and we create this new harmonious, beautiful, abundant world. But it depends on each one of you as well, getting that word out there, bringing it into the awareness of as many as quick as you can, so we collect all of the votes in one place for it. And of course, the more places you get it out in front of others, like in their awareness, then it ripples out, and it has that spider web effect, and very quickly we have the voice collected to do it. And GPMS, as I said, it's so simple. No one upon the planet would want any other choice than what it is. It's all encompassing, it's all inclusive, it recognizes, appreciates, fully supports and uplifts every human being, every soul upon the planet. So it would be absolute ridiculous for no one to not want to be a part of it, and absolutely ridiculous for anyone to attempt to oppose it for what it is. Or again, it is the full deliverance, it is the heaven on earth scenario, and it is humanity has the full ability and capacity to obtain it now, and that's why it is here now. It is the new reality. So, I'll see if there's any more questions here. Mindy Mayers asks, are the soulless people different from backdrop people, coined by Dolores Cannon? Mindy, I'm not familiar with that term. What I will say, the soulless people are, let's say they're human constructs, but they don't have a soul, and there are minions, and there is a variation to the other different humanoid life forms what's out there. But for the most part, there's about 6 billion human souls upon the planet that are going forward, and that are the co-creators of the reality. The other 2 billion are not co-creators of the reality. The way the other 2 billion would create was to trick the human souls into false narratives and fear narratives to get the human souls to create for them. However, again, we are above that time where we have given to the human souls more of their divine knowledge in their memory, to let them know that they are the co-creators of reality, and also to let them know about the tactics of the old masters of deception and illusion. So once everyone is informed of the tactics of the darkness by creating fear narratives and interjecting negative and fear propagandas, then ones know who the darkness is. So it's an identity signature when you see anyone that is forcing and promoting, let's say, the absolute dire reality and the substantial fear tactics with it. You know, with this, one's needed to know about the fear tactics, so information about that was put out. So it's important, do not confuse with ones that are informing others of the actual dark tactics. So including you will see ones put out truth of the fear tactics, but it's proof to show others about it. And it's not, let's say, so much materializing it. For the ones that are awake enough, they know what is occurring, that it's not a fear projection, that it is a teaching tool for those that are ready to understand about the nefarious intent and to rise above it. So it's important to discern and distinguish between that. It's important for all of you not to judge others as well. And this is one of the basics of your empowerment, to not judge others unless you have the full evidence, and then in that case they would judge themselves. So then you are not judging them with a lack of information where they have already created the incontestable evidence and have judged themselves, and you are merely making a statement. You are not judging them when you refer to them in their actions, for their actions show and their intent shows and reveals for what they are. Thank you. Sharon asks, is there anything you can unveil about the grid work? Please and thank you. With the grid work, Sharon, that is also done instrumental and in the most disciplined way, that it does not cause much stress to the sentient material aspect of Terra, of Gaia, of Mother Earth. So the grid work is done in stages and sequences to assure that there is not undue stress put upon her to any degree. With the grid work, it is necessary for, let's say, micro or lesser earthquakes to occur, for what we are doing upon the planet is reconstructing the basis for the new energetic grid, and the basis is with the hydrothermal fluids upon the planet that are quartz, and when they harden they become the quartz, which is important because it is of the highest frequency, and most certainly in the least the fifth dimensional frequency. So what you have is earthquakes and fissures that come into the planet, and then what occurs, there's a hydrothermal fluid that will seep and fill these fissures in, usually at a deeper level. But what it does, it's new veins for Gaia, so you could look at it as a regenesis of Gaia's nervous system, but it's also a regenesis of putting higher energetic areas in places below the surface of Gaia to be able to hold the ley lines in place that dictates reality. So you need this structure. If not, you would not have a constant reality. So it's divinely assured as we go forward and do the grid work that yes, there is earthquakes which are part of this, because it creates the new venues for the new grid nodules, and also the energetics for sustaining the ley lines, without getting too deep in that right now. Thank you. Hi, Shivani. Blessings to you as well. Sovereign and free, yes, Shivani. So many, I mentioned earlier, are becoming, sovereign as well. They're putting up that front against the powers to be, However, the next level with this is that you don't need to prove to anyone that you're sovereign, and you don't need actually the papers, but it puts so many in such a state of empowerment, and it was so instrumental in the past. And I could go much deeper in that, but just not at this time. Thank you. Okay, I'll keep this short. I'll have a look, see if there's any other questions. Sleeping patterns. Sonia says, is the sleeping pattern affected by the new vibrations? One word for that. One word answer, Sonia, absolutely. For the most part, Sonia, many have been sleeping long hours, and there are so many upgrades occurring with the physical vessels, but there's always a mix as well. So where you say you only slept 4 hours, everything is divinely ordained at a higher level, that the soul knows what to do. So if you only sleep for 4 hours, that's all you were supposed to do. If you slept for 34 hours, that's what you were divinely supposed to do. So once you are conscientious and aware that there are many upgrades coming in, that the DNA in your physical temple is changing constantly, then you just go with the flow and say, yeah, and this is happening, and don't resist it, and go with it, and then your upgrades occur much more quicker as well. Angela Temple, love from Australia. She says, 1 million gathering in Canberra now. Any advice for light workers on the ground there? Yes, indeed, stand in their divine strength. Do not go into any form of aggression, especially when you're confronting any police resistance. Do not be aggressive or any fear or any violence, and you will see how it lessens their ability to attack as well. But also, it's important to stick together in numbers and do not let any be separated. And everyone to do what you divinely feel that you need to be done. But be very conscientious that everyone is not to get activated into deep fear and deep aggression. So have a discipline with your divine order, what you are doing. And you'll quickly see how it energetically disables a lot of the police as well, and events will not extrapolate to much more chaotic things with it. Also, all of the light workers there, Angela, it's good to get GPMS out there, the unity, where we're creating the worldwide voice, as I mentioned earlier. Get the GPMS out so they know they have a choice, and all of the protesters worldwide know that there is an actual direction. So they're at the same time that they're opposing what the governments are doing, they need to be uniting worldwide with GPMS, and we just create that reality. All of those other people that are not awake yet, it is also, GPMS is just a simple choice that you don't need all of them awake. We only need all united that are awake. Then the others follow because they can see it so easily, the choice of what it is. So this is what I suggest, and I strongly suggest worldwide for no opposition to back down. Stand your ground, but no violence with it. Refrain from that as to the most that you can. Thank you. Met. Ubi speaks about American soldiers in supplies now allowed on Danish ground. She says that scares her. I saw your comment in one of my posts the other day, and I didn't get time to answer it. Again with this, Femke and I spent so much time in Denmark anchoring in the white light. So, Matt, you have a choice what you wish to energize. Just because American soldiers are there, you have the choice not to go into fear with it and energize some sort of a war. Just be neutral with it and turn it into something good is what I suggest. And it's so important, and as I mentioned earlier in here, do not get with any tactics of darkness at propagating fear or narratives. Do not energize it, and use your divine ability and say, no, there is no war and all of this, and then you are doing much better. So do not be into the fear with anything, especially now upon the planet. Angela Harvey from Nova Scotia, fully awake and learning how to move into Ascension. Excellent stuff. Good. Perfect. Destry. I kind of moved up quick. Destry says she was severely damaged by psychedelic drugs and come off of it, but not all. What will happen to one's damage? Well, you have the choices to come off of all of the drugs very quickly, Destry, and with that comes you activate your own redemption with it. Let's say on this ascension path, with many I have assisted over the years, there was, let's say, not to really put a number on it, but let's say that I have come across and assisted ones that were into different drugs and in the past, and they had come fully clean. It was part of their divine's journey and what they needed to see, and for even some of the psychedelics were tools to advance them. So the main thing is you're not damaged unless you continue to think that. You have choices. Just stop all the drugs, change your diet, detox your system, spirulina, some distilled water for a while perhaps, if that's what you need, or good natural water and good foods that are absent of chemicals, and you begin your detox process. And if it's for you that your physical vessel is to go forward with this ascension, then you'll quickly repair your vessel, and miraculously as well. So it depends upon the individual how quick one can recover. However, once you have the awareness and the insights of how to do this very quickly, you fix yourself for the most part. And when you have the full trust and faith and belief in it, anything that you may need to assist you to repair yourself, it will come into your awareness as well. So if you keep out of a state of fear, thinking that you're doomed and you're sick, and once you do the opposite and believe and trust, then anything you need comes to you. You don't need to look for it. For if you're in stress, looking for things, panicking, you cannot see, it blinds you, and you'll actually push remedies away from you. So you be in absolute trust and confidence in yourself and the ascension and divinely what you are, then things come just so much easier. So the main tip is get rid of all fear, meaning do not let it control you. And the fear spectrum is anything from impatience to downright anger. It doesn't serve. It is a negative, dense energy that you would generate that would keep your reality like that. So it just becomes common sense, and don't keep doing that. Do the opposite. Be love, harmony, believing in yourself, your connection to Creator. Have the absolute trust that there is a divine plan occurring upon the planet, that this is just transitioning, going into experience that beautiful world of harmony and what have you. Then, because you're in alignment with this beautiful world, everything that you need to get there comes to you. You don't need to look for it. You are aligned with it because it's what you want in your heart as part of your existence. And because of that, then you begin to attract everything that supports you to be that. And it's important not to consciously have expectations on how you will get there, but just trust that you'll get there and be aware of what comes in to assist you in getting there. If you have expectations from a human logic and attempt to control how you get there, then what occurs, if you're trying to control it so much from human logic, you may be causing a conflict of interest with it, because where we are going is divine with this, the new harmonious reality. And you wish to keep your guiding principles as divine as you can, then you get there quicker. So it's good to trust and eliminate a lot of the old logical thinking, expectations, and control over things. So there's a lot about surrendering the soul to what you want. Then your soul aligns with that, and it begins to energize everything in your reality to lead you to that. Great. One more question, I believe, and that will be enough. Thank you. Dustry, I see one of your comments again. You keep saying you were severely damaged. Now, this is very important. Where you keep stating that out, you are constantly energizing that reality where you remain damaged. It's important to begin to use your creator values and powers at saying, no, you're not damaged. You don't even need to say that. You say you're getting better. Then you create that reality. So turn whatever you're saying into positive. Don't keep owning the dense states of being by saying you're severely damaged. You keep saying that, you're going to keep creating that scenario. So it's important to change, yes, what you say and what you think. Start using your powerful tools as a co-creator to make yourself better. Your consciousness is a powerful thing. Even before you were aware of the full power of your consciousness in the past, ones with their minds could make themselves sick. So where your minds were able to create illness and make one sick, like a hypochondriac, where your mind was able to make one sick, it's also able to do the opposite. It's able to cure you of everything once you put the right thoughts and the right consciousness in there. So you have the ability, and you have the choice to begin to do that, and you will receive your own confirmations of what I say, because it is true. It is the truth. It is absolute truth. Okay, so I'm out of cigarettes. That means I got to go and roll some more organic ones, and thank you all for joining, and it's been great, and you are in the most glorious, gracious times, and we are creating that. So the length of time it takes to create it depends on each and every one of us. So play your parts and put your focus on that new reality, and we get it created together just so much quicker. So GPMS.world, and that is the divine plan. It's the new reality for humanity. It is the humane world, if you will, to take you out of the savagery. So everyone will choose it when they're ready. But at this time, I know upon the planet there are billions that are ready. It just needs to get into their awareness of how simple it is, and just get your vote registered and get your vote counted in the number we're creating, and this gets it done for everyone. So we got this. Love and light, much gratitude, and have an amazing day wherever you are. Thank you.